So let's double click on that one a little bit, of that, balancing of that experimentation and that business driving. How do you, at one point people would kind of solve that by saying, okay, we're going to have our marketing innovation team that's out there doing it. All they do is their experiments. And then it started being built into the main business. How do you encourage your teams to think about that balance of experimentation and thinking the long term versus driving the short term and not missing your weekly, monthly, quarterly goals?
Yeah, a couple thoughts on that. One is that I'm not a big believer in innovation as a central function. I think that, everyone's got a domain expertise in a marketing world that's becoming, more and more eye-shaped, sort of narrow and deep. At Shopify, I once counted the distinct functions I had in my marketing department, and there were 19 of them. So people obviously have their own domains, and two adjacent domains might interact and overlap to some extent, but there were certainly roles that had absolutely nothing to do with one another. And so the notion that any innovator could span all of them seems to me a little bit naive. And so not dissimilar to the way I think about, analytics, like everyone's got to be analytical, everyone's got to be innovative. But where I have used more of a center of excellence kind of approach is in terms of administering the tests. I've seen a lot of false negatives driven by poor experimental design. It's the thing where the social media person comes into your office and they're like, Facebook doesn't work. Okay, how do you know Facebook doesn't work? Well, I added it in target market A and I didn't add it in target market B, and they're otherwise the same. Okay, how much did you add? 10,000 a week. How much are you spending in search a week? 1 million in both geos. It's a drop in the bucket. And so I realized that experiments weren't being designed or read well. And so in some orgs, I would create a center of excellence around testing infrastructure. And then as the operation got more mature, individual pods could take that on their own.
Perfect. Anything to add to that, Jay?
No, I think it also depends on who you hire. I think you want to hire people that inherently are both curious and want to become sort of masters of their craft in their particular area, and have that sort of talent and drive to want to be experts in that area. So they're constantly pushing, and then let them run, right? Let them dedicate most of their funds to what's working, and constantly have a percentage of what you budget for them focus on experimenting, and be comfortable with failing on some or even all of that percentage in any given quarter. So that's kind of also how I think about it as well.